It feels good to win. Guys did a great job at the very end, doing one of the most basic things that goes into winning basketball games, and that's, back-to-back possessions of a score and a stop, which is what we needed when they took the lead, 65-64. Really, really proud of just our guys' willingness to stay with it. You could see when they made the run after we had a double-digit lead, there was a little bit, on guys' faces of, this may be tough. But the response from the guys was really good. Xavier made some tough shots, 60% from three in the second half. And really, other than that, I thought our guys did a great job making the opponent miss all game long. We really wanted to hold them significantly under their normal field goal percentage. We did. That's 3 games in a row where we've held the team to a very good number. That gives us a chance. Obviously on the offensive end, when we got a shot, they were pretty high quality most of the game. Too many turnovers, but those are things we can clean up. It's nice to finally have to clean some stuff up after a win.
Just ending that 6-game losing streak, how much could you see afterwards, just the weight off the players' shoulders?
Well, our guys, they care about winning, as much or more than anyone in this building tonight. And they feel the weight, when we don't win. And that, that comes with the territory of being a basketball coach or being a basketball player at this level, and I tell the guys all the time, it's, we have to be big boys. We can't have it both ways. So, for us to win tonight in a close game, particularly in the fashion that the game went, being up 13, playing well, to the run that they made, being down. NJ, I thought, was a warrior in that it's very, very difficult to play when you're getting yo-yoed in and out of the game, like he was. We were just trying to obviously protect him from more fouls. But he's such a key to our team because, with Sean out right now, he's decision maker A, B, and C. And, Chase Ross is a warrior. We don't win this game without him. I thought he did a lot of phenomenal things. It's a good opportunity for him to learn from a win in terms of some of those turnovers he had. But he's a warrior, and for him to play so many minutes and battle was impressive.
It wasn't perfectly executed down the stretch, like you mentioned, but you guys got that close win, scrapped for a couple offensive rebounds down the stretch. What did you like about just the way you guys played in the last couple of minutes?
We don't win the game without offensive rebounding. We talk about that a lot. There's some components of the game that are effort-based that we say we have to have to win, and offensive rebounding is one of them. Neither team, shot the ball particularly well tonight, and so for us to have an edge on the offensive glass by 9, an edge on the overall rebounding by 13 is a big deal. I thought Ben's aggressiveness and toughness was really, really important. Michael Phillips rebounded the ball well when he was in the game. Ben was banged up out there, and he just kept fighting and battling. I also think Royce Parham did a terrific job on Trey Carroll. He's a hard matchup. Ended the game with 12, but he didn't score a lot on Royce. And I thought Royce really took a lot of pride in that matchup and did a great job.
Xavier takes the lead, 65-64. You call timeout. What are you saying to your guys when they come into that huddle?
We can do it. Yeah, I think, in a lot of ways, building a belief and an understanding that whatever it is we're called to do, we can go do. Listen, in this kind of context that we're in, there's a lot of messaging that guys get to the contrary. Sometimes it's created in your own head. But the reality is, we're trying to go out there and get a score and a stop, and that's exactly what the guys did. And sometimes it's less about the scheme and even, execution's huge, but even less about the execution than it is the will. And I thought our guys not just at the very end, but on a lot of plays that were critical to us winning this game. They showed terrific will. We got way more deflections than we've had in our last several games. A lot of plays where guys were helping each other on the defensive end, and that's who we have to be.
You talked about Roy's defense. What do you think about the way he was aggressively attacking the glass and the rim?
Yeah, we need it. I mean, Royce is a guy that, when he has 14 points and 8 rebounds, we got a chance to win. If it's a night where, he's got 3 to 7 points and doesn't rebound much, probably going to be a tough night, for Marquette, because he is, I would say, one of our most gifted guys on the offensive end. He's one of our more confident guys. And again, when the other team makes a run, you need someone to step forward. NJ's certainly not afraid to do that, but he was yo-yoing in and out of the game with the foul trouble. And I thought Royce stepping forward. Trey Norman as well attacked and, got to the foul line, got some offensive rebounds, which helped us.
You've said that the dam was eventually going to break on the layups. I think it was a little better today. What do you think? What was different about today's execution?
It was better. I mean, there's still, Chase missed that one. It was stone cold, but then he made one after that. So, we got to appreciate. I got to appreciate the good if I, want to improve the bad. It's just, listen, clarity of mind. I'm a big believer in when guys are missing layups that are high quality layups. There's something happening up here, and it's oftentimes like holding on too tight or a lack of presence, or they want it almost too much. And again, that all comes from a good place. These are wonderful human beings that we have, but to be a competitor and a winner, you have to access presence. You have to access exactly what it takes to lay the ball off the glass and in. And, that's something that we work a ton on in practice. The challenge is the game's a little bit different, but we're going to keep working on it, and we got some good reps tonight. Excited to come back here on Saturday.
You've talked about some of the difficulties just finding the right 5 guys on the floor. How much progress do you think you've made now that we're in January, and just looking at who you played down the stretch tonight? Well,
the right 5 guys, it changes, kind of knew that coming into this year, that it wouldn't be necessarily cut and dry. I mean, 3 years ago when we won the league, we had 6 guys, and the right 5 was going to be 5 of those 6. The next year when we went to the Sweet 16, we had 6 guys. Chase was the 6th one. He was the youngest one, and it was going to be 5 of those 6. Last year our starting lineup started every single game, and we didn't have a ton of potency off our bench. For the most part, it was those 5 guys that, from a statistical standpoint, were by far our best. This year's team, we have different lineups that maybe are better on defense, not as good on offense. Different players that are better on defense, not as good on offense, or vice versa. Obviously we need to have Chase, NJ, Royce, Ben when he's playing well in the game, that they give us our best chance. I think Adrian is emerging with his confidence. Hit some huge threes tonight. So right now that's our best 5, and that's who started the game tonight. That's who likely will start the game on Saturday.